For those of you who don't know me, I'm SCDCAF. That's SCDD.
D squared.
Yeah. Well, DD and D.
D cubed.
D cubed. So we're going to be teaching this class today for you guys. I want to start off the class. This is a word scramble. So without saying anything, write down in the note section of class 2 what you think this word is. Oh yeah. Oh wait, yeah, just don't even, yeah. So write it down what you think the word is. Raise your hand. What do you think the word is?
Listen.
Did anybody get a different word?
Silent.
Okay. So effective communication. I love starting this class with this because listen and silent have the same letters. So to listen, you have to be silent. So we're going to do another activity. Just to kind of get you guys going, I need everybody to close their eyes and just listen around the room and just remember what you hear, because I'm going to ask you to write it down. So just listen to what's going on around the room. Okay, open your eyes and write down a few things that you heard. All right, what are a few things that we heard? Just say them.
Snapping.
Snapping,
Duck quacking.
a duck quacking,
Barking.
barking,
Snapping. Water dropping.
water dropping.
There's a reason.
Was there anything else that you heard?
Like you walking around.
Yeah.
Me walking around the room? Okay. So, the objective of this class is to review and practice the elements of good communication. So the listening activity that we just did, did everybody hear the same thing? Like, did some people notice listening to me walking around?
Yes. I heard you breathing actually.
Yeah, they're like, yeah.
Or something
I didn't notice that I did. So why don't you think that everybody heard the same thing?
It's selective.
Selective? That's a good way to put it. Anybody else? Okay. That's a good way to put it, selective hearing. And so, that's what I have when my mother talks to me. So yeah, so selective. So sometimes if somebody's talking to you and you're so focused on one thing, you're missing the big picture around what is being said. So I could be talking to Noelle about a decathlon that I want to do at school against all the grades. But she's thinking, well, we also need to raise money, so why don't we raise money with the decathlon? And I'm only worried about the decathlon. I'm not thinking about raising money. I'm not thinking about anything else. So the communication there is not effective because we're kind of on the same page, but we haven't communicated what she's deeply thinking about it because I'm just concerned about one thing, which sometimes you are, which is totally fine. So, what do you think, to start, what is communication? How do we define communication? Yeah. Eye contact, okay.
Talking about the same subject.
Talking about the same subject. And only eye contact and talking about one subject is communication?
Understanding what the other person is saying.
Okay, understanding.
Being able to like relay your ideas to someone. In general, just sending a message to someone.
Okay, so good. Those are all good ways to define communication. Exchanging ideas, information, emotion. There's different ways to communicate with each other. What are methods of communication that we use today?
Texting.
Texting,
Email.
email,
Snapchat.
Snapchat, perfect.
Phone calls.
What was that?
Phone calls.
A phone call,
FaceTime.
FaceTime, Skype, right? What else do we use? Twitter, Facebook even, that's a way of communicating with the entire world. Instagram, I don't know, what's that, Periscope, is that a new thing? See? I'm not as old as I thought. So yeah, so also communicating, which you guys did say, is face to face. Am I communicating with you right now?
Yes.
We sometimes forget that one, because your generation is always lost in the technology. But, all right, so from there, keep that in mind as we go over a few more activities. Dee's gonna take over from here, but just keep that in mind of how we communicate, how you guys communicate, and what types of communication you've been using as people, students, student council representatives, players on sports teams, and all that stuff.
Yeah. So I'm going to go into, well, first of all, I want to talk about something that I was doing in the back. Did anyone see what I was doing in the back?
Texting.
I was actually reading. I was actually going through, I have twins that are 16, and boy-girl twins. So I was just going through my daughter's text to me. So typical KK, our bus broke down. Thank you and thank HOD. JK, it's back until up. I'm on the bus, I'm not using data. And then, hey mom, can you pick me up at 4 when you pick up Connor, because I'm going to finish a project, I'm babysitting. Unhappy face, soon, can you come to the front line? And let's see, there was one right now from October 7th, and I had no idea about getting insulin from Dunkin' Donuts and meet at Kohl's. So I get these messages from my daughter, and I don't know what she's saying half the time. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. So I want to talk to you about messaging and text, and what happens when, talking about what Deanna was saying, when you're not face-to-face with someone. What happens when you convey something over a text message or email? What can happen? Yes?
The other person can get the wrong idea.
What do you mean by that?
Like, you could say one thing and they can interpret it completely differently.
Why do you think that you can say one thing and they can interpret something totally different?
This is no expression of tone and text.
Okay, so they're not receiving any feedback from you, correct? They're not getting your facial expressions, your tone, they don't hear you. Unless you're writing in all caps, you're not quite sure, they may not be sure what's happening. All right, what else happens when you're texting or emailing? Yes?
Like spell check can mess up sometimes, and like you interpret or you misconstrue what they're saying.
Okay, so I have a message for this generation. Talk to people, actually talk to the people, and make sure your message is received correctly. And again, I go back to my 16-year-old daughter, and she's constantly telling me about the drama, and the girls never talk to each other. They're just texting this one, that one. As student leaders, now let's get it back to student leadership. It's real important that if you send something out, you better make sure that it is well thought out and it can't be misinterpreted. All right, so let me ask you something. How do you get a message out to your student council? What are some ways? Let's just go around the room real quick. How do you get out a message to your student council?
Do Twitter.
Okay, keep going.
Group chat. You do announcements.
Okay.
Assemblies.
Announcements or
Remind 101.
we use Remind 101.
And who's sending out the Remind 101s?
For us, we have one person on the board who's primarily in charge of it, and they have to like check it off with the advisor.
Oh, okay, so there is someone to kind of proofread it, second set of eyes. Excellent, keep going.
Announcements or group me, which is like a way to contact a lot of people in like one group chat.
Okay.
We send out papers to their homehomes.
You send out papers?
Yeah.
Like actual paper where it's written on, all right? I heard about that back in the day.
Yeah, we use Remind 101 or announcements.
Okay.
Use group me.
Or Remind 101. Remind 101 or announcements. Yeah, you use reminder announcements.
My school used the Pony Express.
Reminder on
Announcements.
group me in the meeting, email, Facebook, and reminder on
Okay, so the majority of you are relying on digital technology, so I think it's, again, so important that this class, now years ago, 10, 15 years ago, we never even talked about Remind 101. What was Remind 101? It was not in existence yet, and now with everything that's available to us, we can instantly do it. Lou sends out reminders to the delegates and to the staff all the time. Did you get a reminder yet? Did you get anything from him since you've been here? All right, well, we have a staff. So take a look at this model here. We have S, we have R. We have the sender, we have the message, we have the receiver, and then we have the feedback. So picture when you're sending out information, be it paper, be it announcement, be it on some type of digital communication. You send the message and it may go to the receiver. This whole piece most times is not given unless you have some type of response. Even in Remind 101, can you get back to the person who sent it out? On that instant, Reminder 101. No, you can't reply back, right? It just goes out, it's one way. So this whole piece is going to be really important. So important, we're going to be doing an activity today where you're going to be the sender, all right? Half of you will be a sender, and half of you will be a receiver. You're going to be sending a message, but you're not going to get any feedback. And we're going to see what happens when we remove that piece, all right? So what I need you to do now is I need you to just pair up, all right?
With somebody you have not met yet.
There you go.
We're gonna see that, because I noticed colored groups are sitting together.
Oh, okay. And what you're going to do, I need you, we're going to keep 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, these 8 chairs. How many people do we have?
18.
18. Okay, 9 chairs. You're going to keep your chairs facing this way, okay? The rest of you, we're going to bring other chairs and you're going to face the other side of the wall, all right? So if you can get up, move around, and find someone you haven't met, different color group, and you're sitting,
Back to back.
actually,
Yes.
I need you to turn your seats around so you're facing the wall.
And you guys,
That's
me.
Yeah.
So you guys are gonna be back to back. But be close, that you're like touching. And you can be a little separated. You guys don't have to be so on top of each other, yeah.
No.
Yeah, just go back to back.
Okay, who's your partner? Okay, so take your chair and swing it around, so you're, there you go.
And then you guys can separate a little bit. You guys don't have to be right next to each other. We have this whole room, so you can move around in the room. Yeah, that's fine. Someone that you guys haven't met. Won't take.
That's okay.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
We already met.
That's fine,
Where's back? I'll bring mine over there.
Here, if you guys want, we can move this two over here. Here. Come on, on this side.
By the way, as we're getting this set up, please remember that everything that we go over in the classes, you can find all of this information, this content in your books. And a lot of times, councils go back to their classes or their schools, and they run mini LTCs. So the activities that we're doing here, feel free to go back and if you have a workshop or you have some time before school starts to actually facilitate what we're doing here. You're going to be the teachers and you're going to share this information. Okay.
This is going to be the first activity we do. It's a drawing. So I'm sitting back to back with your partner. one of you will be facing the board. We're gonna give you about 5 minutes, and in
Don't
those.
look, don't, if you're only here, you can't look at.
Oh, I didn't even put it up yet, yeah. If you, right, so if your back is facing the board, keep your eyes on Dee Dee, don't look at the board. The people facing me, you have to communicate to your partner sitting behind you what the picture is going to be up here. And they have to draw it, okay?
Oh, I have
You have to tell them what the picture
a
is.
can tell them.
Yeah, you have to tell them
That's all.
what you see, and then they draw it, that's it, pretty easy. So, whenever you guys are ready, we're gonna just try it.
No feedback.
Oh, right. Also, drawers, no feedback. Listen, what you hear, you just draw.
Can I ask a question if I'm listening? Can I ask them a question?
No.
If I were to draw it, you mean I can't ask how big or how small? No? Oh.
I would say no. The communication should be from the people
Okay.
facing the
Just
board.
clarifying.
Just so- yeah.
Yeah.
So, the drawers, you're just strictly drawing. Deal? Okay. We're gonna give you guys about 5 minutes, and I'm gonna put the picture up. If your back is facing the board, don't look.
They're gonna draw that exact.
Go ahead, you have to explain it, it's communication.
Draw like a house.
Okay.
So in the middle, you draw like a square, like where one on each side.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know if I can answer.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, then in the square of the house, on the left side, under the chimney, you're gonna draw a window where the rectangle is. So window, the window is a little bit thicker. And then it has the regular like chimney.
Okay, show your partner your picture and look and see what the actual picture was.
I mean, that's kind of accurate. They're just far away. What happened here? You said it's off underneath and then I just say a little square. Yeah, I just didn't know. I guess what's on the chimney.
Let's say if you're kind of close.
Oh, true. Oh, shit.
Your house is different.
I just fear windows.
But, so now, how do you guys know how big or how small to draw the house?
I guess.
How do we know how big or small to draw the sun? So how would you describe how big that sun is? Just curious,
I just kind of said it was a
right? But I'm saying the diameter of the sun. I heard, what was your name? Kelly? Kelly was using words of, so the sun is like a compass with the 8 triangles outside of it, which was the only person I heard say that unless somebody else did and I missed it. She was being very descriptive, trying to get exactly where the things would be, so that was a good job. But, so see how effective communication is? Because if your picture doesn't look really like this, how well did we really communicate coming from the sender? So now, I need you guys to turn your desks.
Let's just talk about what made this activity.
Oh, yeah,
easy.
sorry. Forgot about that.
All right, so, what made it easy, if you thought it was pretty easy? Yes?
We could see the pictures so we can know what we're describing.
Okay, so you actually had a visual picture that you could describe. So you didn't have to have it in your mind, you can actually see it, all right? Now I want to read a quote to you. This is in your books. It says, this is on page 2/6, 2/2-6. Listening facts, about 80% of our waking hours are spent communicating. About half of that time is spent listening. Students spend about 60 to 70% of their time in class listening. Listening is the most used skill and the least taught skill. what happens in 10 minutes of listening. So this is what happens. You sit down and you're just listening for 10 minutes. Just listening. You hear, understand, properly evaluate, and retain about half, about 5 minutes worth. And after 48 hours, after 2 days, the average person will forget about half of that. So that 10 minutes of listening in class has been reduced to 2.5 minutes or 2.5 minutes. Out of the original 10 minutes of listening, you'll only remember about 25% of them. All right, so I want you to keep that in mind because we want to up those numbers. I know as a teacher, it's all about getting my students engaged, providing visuals, kinesthetic, tactile, engaging them, making them part of the interaction. So I love the fact that the first thing that you said was that you actually got to see a picture. That's what made the activity easier. Anything else made this activity easy? Yes?
Oh, not easy.
What's that?
I thought you said difficult. Not
Okay, anyone else for visual? Anything that made our easy? Let's hear a difficult. Go ahead.
There was just a bunch of noise everywhere. It was very muffled. Like, I had to be very close to her to hear what she was saying.
Okay, the noise level was real high. So that distraction, Deanna had that activity at the beginning where she was, shuffling and all of this. It was really distracting. We have in some of our classes, first of all, we have FM systems in my district where we have our microphone and it's surround sound. So you get to hear that better and you're not distracted. Also, I see some classrooms, some of our children with learning disabilities, they have earplugs on available, so they can tune that out. So that's a very good point. If you can't hear what's going on, then you'll miss something that your speaker is saying, right? Or maybe you'll just be distracted. Anything else that made this difficult to do? Yes, go
I
ahead.
didn't know the details, like, I didn't know, like, sizes, or, like, I didn't really know what was going on.
Okay. So she was giving information, but there were so many unknowns about that. If she said a house, well, how big was the house? Was it a 2-story house? Was it a ranch? Was it a mansion? Yes?
And then also you hear how other people are explaining the picture, but you want to listen to your partner, but you're like, wait a minute, does it look like that? Like, I erased some things and I changed it.
Oh, so how can we
Like, you interpret other people's,
input
yeah.
from others. And what if they were looking at it, now obviously they were looking at the same thing, but maybe they weren't, maybe, I know teachers are very sneaky. Sometimes they can send out tests, and I know computers now, we can click a button and the person next to you they're getting the same test, but the questions are given in random order. So don't be sure that the person next to you is getting the same information. All right? Yes, go ahead.
Being that they weren't able to give us feedback, giving us feedback, you didn't know what their progress were and they needed help.
So you were a sender, and you saw it, and you can give the information, but you were thinking, is she getting it? And you didn't like that feeling, right? Kind of like, hopefully that's how you should feel. If you send a message out, you want to hear back from that person. What if you don't hear back from that person when you're texting them? What do you think if you don't hear back from
They
them?
haven't read it.
They didn't get it?
They haven't read it.
They never read it? They're ignoring you. That's it. You're jumping to conclusions until you get that feedback. You don't know. So, good point. The sender not receiving feedback. Anything else that made this difficult? Yes?
We weren't able to ask questions.
Hey, just cutting that. No questions allowed. So no questions allowed. So you were not able to gather information. You were only given information. You want to say something? Yeah.
You had to rely on someone else.
Tell me about that. Go ahead.
Like,
Explain
the
that
person
further.
drawing had to listen to what the person was saying, they couldn't see it for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to listen and draw with their brain.
Okay.
And did you know if she was an effective communicator? Or it was just by chance, right? Did you get to choose your person?
Like, I didn't know how good or bad she would be
Uh-huh.
before I chose her. She's good though.
She did well?
Yes.
Yes, she did well. Okay, anything else on what made this difficult? Okay, so there we had the model. We had our senders, we had the message, we had the receiver, but then we cut out the feedback. Well, we're gonna do another activity.
Okay. Pick up your desk and turn and face your partner. This time, the person facing the board is going to be the sender. The receivers, where you're back facing to the board, you can ask questions, you could ask them to describe better, so you are face-to-face interaction, but you can ask questions, okay?
Jeff, can they look at what the person's drawing?
They can see what they're drawing.
But the drawer should switch, right?
The drawers switch.
Yeah, don't be switching.
So, but if you are facing the board, I need you to sit on your hands. Okay? So I'm gonna put up a picture. You guys have, I'm gonna give you about another 5 minutes. And we're gonna try another effective communication activity. Drawers, you can ask questions, you can do what you want.
Yeah, it's like they're really long. How small are they? You see really small.
Yeah, like the same. Okay, you see how close the cars are on the one that's very tight. Yeah, like that one. You want to keep
Two endpoints in that line. Like that straight line.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Start from the top and draw like a curved line connecting those. Like curve it out and then back in. No.
Oh, there. So those two are the ends of the U. And the U. Those two are right. Like that. So turn that.
Alright guys, we're gonna give you about another minute.
It's not even right. So if the U faces that way. Oh, like that? Yeah. And then next there, you like go to where? You make like another but the bottom of the U, like so it starts there, cut it right, and then it goes.
Alright. Receivers, look at the picture.
Ours is close.
Wow.
Can we have you at this time, we're not going to do any more face-to-face or back-to-back. So can we have, if you are facing the opposite wall, if you can turn your desks around?
No, you were good.
Yeah, like as soon as the picture came up, her face was like, and I was like, oh god.
Okay. What do we think? Was this activity easy at all?
No.
No, there was nothing that we thought was easy about it on either end of the spectrum. Yes.
One of the things that she did that I thought was good was before she drew it, she would like above the paper just like mark, like kind of make a motion to where she was about to draw, so I could tell if that was right or not.
Okay.
So that way, like I wasn't actually pointing, but she was kind of like checking before she drew it. So I thought that was good.
How did you, what do you mean? So she would hold it like this, and would you say yes or no?
Yeah, kind of. Like she would make a motion about where she was about to draw, and I would say if it was right or not.
So she was able to check in with the receiver, right?
Yeah.
And you gave, and so that feedback Because you probably thought, oh, piece of cake this time if I get to talk, but
Yeah, that's fine.
we gave you an abstract picture. But at least you were able to check in.
Right.
And with that, even though you couldn't use your hands, you can give that instant feedback. Okay, go ahead.
Anything else? Joanna?
Like I was able to like ask questions for like more exact sizing and stuff.
I think that was brought up before, when they weren't able to ask those questions. So you can ask questions regarding size, shape, whatever.
Anybody else? Okay. What made this difficult?
Not being able to use your hands.
Not being able to use your hands?
My right was her left, so I had to like really like take time to think about what I was saying.
So different perspectives of, right.
They weren't straight lines, they were extremely abstract, like with the house, you'd be like, oh, square this, square that. This was like, is it a snake, is it a piece of hair? Like, I was gonna say kind of same thing, like, you can say draw a sun and they'll all kind of like suns, but here it's like, how do you even describe it?
Right. It's a hand on the side of the book.
Oh, it was me. It was just kind of like this.
Same thing, okay. Anything else that made it difficult? Do we think? No?
Okay. All right, so think about when you have to send a message and you either you can get feedback or you can't, and it's just going out there. And I'm hoping that when you walk away, you've already had one class today, who was speaking with these, right? Pretty good class, right? Yes, no, maybe so? You went into it, you got your speaking out of the way, and now you're feeling more comfortable. Well, isn't it ironic that the class that follows Speaking with Ease is a class on communications? It's not ironic, it's purposely placed there because you want to make sure that public speaking is not always getting up and saying, well, my hometown is the best hometown because, or someone who has made a difference in my life is. It's about meeting with your principal, it's a meeting with your student council, it's a meeting with your parents to negotiate why you should be given extra hours on your curfew. It's all about that, all right? So that's why we want to be effective and get our communication across. So now what I want you to do is I want you to think about this quote. And the quote is this: texting, getting back to that texting, is a brilliant way to miscommunicate how you feel. This is on 2/8. Texting is a brilliant way to miscommunicate how you feel and misinterpret what other people mean. Keeping that in mind. So the example is, I don't care. So the intended meaning, I really don't have strong feelings for it, against it, what you're saying, so I don't really mind. The time you want to leave for that thing or the restaurant you want to go to is fine. Thanks for asking, it was okay with me. I really appreciate it, but it's all up to you. I have no preference or better suggestion. Misinterpreted meaning. Whatever, I just don't care anymore, I'm not interested in you anymore. In fact, I think I'll be breaking up with you so soon, so it really doesn't matter to me. This relationship is pretty much over. So by just simply saying, I don't care, it could be interpreted two different ways. So now talking about communication, I want you to look at this social media, all right, the simple tweet. Homeroom reps should report to teachers wearing school shirts. Homeroom reps should report to teachers wearing school shirts. What I want you to do is get buddy-buddy with someone, it could be the one person that you are working with, and I want you to talk about what you think that message means. All right, so go ahead, turn to someone next to you and explain to them what you think gestures.
their homeroom should go to their teachers wearing their school shirts.
All right, so the reps are wearing their school shirts, right?
Or did somebody think differently?
Or the teachers that are wearing shirts.
So should the reps report to teachers? Should the reps be wearing the shirts, or should the reps go to the teachers who are wearing the school shirts? Oh, and it's kind of cool that, you know, one saw it one way, another person saw it another way. It's kind of like the listen silent thing. You know, there were a couple of people, I walked around, I did see a couple of people got both the listen and the silent. And some of you may have seen that this was somewhat ambiguous. So just a simple message like this without commas and things like that. Did you ever see that quote, commas or grammar saves lives? Let's eat grandma, or let's eat, comma, grandma, right? Grammar saves lives. So it's really important that when we're communicating, we read it. And who said that? Was it you that your advisor checks over anything that gets sent out?
Oh, well, same advisor, but yeah, it's the same.
Same school, okay, so you're doing, and that's awesome. I try as much as possible, especially if it's something really, really important. Hey, another set of eyes, can you check this over? Because they may see something that you don't see, and that's really important to get that feedback, right? Anyone have a story or anything that happened to them that they would be willing to share where there was a misinterpretation? You sent out a message, or student council? No, everything's been hunky-dory. Oh, I love it. Go ahead, go for it.
Actually, recently, student council for general was making the t-shirts, and we were doing it over, we had a meeting about it, and we left off like on, we weren't really sure, so we had like a group chat going, and everyone all had different opinions, and we had like our advisor had to like send them out to a lady with our ideas, and then she had to make it. And it was like 3 times, and we're like, okay, we hate this shirt, like, they're not getting it. So like, we had to like draw pictures and send it, and she had to like make it, and like finally, like, we got it, and it's like some things still I kind of don't like about it, but like, it already like got sent out, but it's just like really annoying. Like when you have to go, like it was like us, and then the advisors, and the advisors had to ask them, and then the people with the t-shirts, so it was like it was like telephone to like make the shirts. And it was just, it's kind of hard, like when you're not there with the people who are making the shirts explaining like perfectly like how to do it.
Let's do that all over again. What would you do differently this time if you had an opportunity? What could be done differently?
Maybe like having a meeting with the person that's making the shirts along with everyone else in person and explaining to them.
Ta-da! Face to face, in person, so that you can get that instant feedback, that you can draw, that you can sit face to face, you can ask questions, they can ask questions, you can get a response. So important. Had you had that person there, it really would have alleviated any
It would have
misinterpretation.
ended faster too, like it would have been a faster process.
Absolutely. Sometimes those emails or texts in the cell phone, or you know, there's 1,000 different ones, and they have to scroll through it, and then they get to it, and then it just gets distorted. So planning in advance. So make sure if you can tackle something in one shot, give yourself enough time. Invite the people that need to be there so that everyone's on deck and they can give you their feedback and they can get the information they need to. Yes.
Me and my friend were planning to like go to like dinner or something, because there's a fundraiser in our school at Dianne, and the person who was supposed to ask me to school really forgot, and they texted me, but I was at an activity, and so I didn't see, so I thought I wasn't coming, and I was mad at them, and I just wasn't looking at my phone, and I like was at the dinner and she wasn't, and I was like, oh, like just because I didn't respond to you didn't mean I wasn't yelling, like I just talked to me in person.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Did you work it out? Did you really work it out, or you were okay with it? Okay. All right. That's good. Phew. Yes. Go ahead.
We were making reservations for, since school ended, we haven't seen each other from all my friends and stuff, so we were making reservations for this one cafe. And what ended up happening was this, we asked this one friend of ours to make reservations for a certain time, and we asked him, hey, can you make reservations? Yeah, I made it for a crazy time of crazy amount of people. That's a joke. And we're like, oh, haha, okay. Meaning he made a reservation and he just joking around with us. Come 2 days later, the day, he's like, so you make a reservation? And we're like, I thought you made the reservation. It's a day up. It's kind of late now. He's like, no, I was only kidding. Like, how are we supposed to know you were kidding if you were kidding about reservations? So we ended up going, and thank God there were seats because otherwise we would not have reservations.
Okay. All right, yes, go ahead.
So I'm a babysitter. I babysit 2 kids, and I texted mom like throughout the night, and I was like, oh yeah, Colin's just watching a movie and Bryson's gone, and like me and my friends like we say gone like as in like sleeping, and like they know that, but like I wasn't really like thinking about. I guess I didn't cater to my audience. So she started like throwing messages and like, what? Bryson's gone. I was like, oh no, he's just like knocked out, like he's sleeping.
He's knocked out. What do you mean he's knocked out?
I can't just say sleep. I have a problem with that.
All right, great example that your vocabulary, your terms are different than this old generation here. Apparently, apparently 1K after a text is a bad thing.
Dee was asking me, so, and the girl, you guys will appreciate this. Dee was asking me, and I was trying to explain to her, I said, there's like a sign when it comes to the K. If you just say K, it means you're a little like that. If you say K period, that means start apologizing.
My dad yesterday texted me K period, and I was like, okay.
But if you say KK, then everything's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
She was like, really? I'm like, I don't understand. Yes, that's it.
Sometimes okay is not okay either.
Just like,
Well, okay, you know what? Get rid of text. Let's talk to people. Go ahead,
I worked with someone, this happened a little while ago, but my friend was having one of her friends come visit her, and she wasn't from the area at all. And she told her to come to Ocean City, because that's where she goes in the summer, we work there. And so my friend's friend texted her, was like, oh, I'm here, where are you? And she was in Ocean City, Maryland, instead of Ocean City, New Jersey. So I don't know how they worked that out, but she ended up visiting her friend.
She probably had a lot of fun in Maryland.
Go ahead.
That happened once to me. I'm in like the jazz band at our school, and we had a competition in Allentown, and there's Allentown, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey.
Yeah.
And ours was in New Jersey, but the one trumpet player who drove herself accidentally went to the other Allentown.
Oh my
So that
goodness.
was rough.
So I have 2 things that I want to end with, wrap up before, and then Deanna, if you want to throw anything in, and then we'll do the evaluation. First thing is that it's real important that you reiterate what your message is. As you're going back and forth, you have a final statement, that culminating message that you send out. So let's just be clear. We're going to be meeting at Panera in Allentown, New Jersey, and afterwards going to Ocean City, Maryland, okay? Putting it in text. Not taking or assuming that the person knows which state you're talking about, or which Panera you're talking about, or which time, 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. Just last week, my daughter's teacher got the dates mixed up on a field hockey camp. And my daughter's friend's mother went ballistic on this teacher because she got the dates mixed up. So double, triple checking dates, making sure that you're not making assumptions about the location, the time, and all of that.
And then what I would add is, don't assume the text tone. And I know we all do it. When I text, if the answer is no, I just say no. I don't say no with 12,000 O's to like lighten it up. I just say, oh, no, like, are you coming? No. And sometimes my friends are like, Dee, you're so brutal when you text. I'm like, right, you said if I was coming. I said, no, I'm not. So sometimes, and I know everybody does it, if you're texting someone and they put like IDK, meaning I don't know, then you're like, are they mad? Is it? You like read into it a lot more than when people who didn't have texting would just call, like the landline on the phone. So just try to keep that in mind as well, because sometimes you might be having a conversation and thinking it's getting heated up, but if you really think about it, maybe it's your emotions that you're reading through that person's text.
If you're
in a good place.
Yeah, if you're happy, great. If I have a horrible day at work and my boyfriend texts me and he just says, hey, I'm like, great, now I'm gonna have an argument with this one, just because he said hey. Like, yeah. And I'm sure you all understand what I'm saying.
No smiley face
Yeah,
afterwards?
like he didn't put two Y's.
I won't even
Like,
get to the emoji. All right,
but you guys get it.
so what was that first thing in the model of communication? Do you remember what that first part was? The sender, yeah, and then the sender had the message, and then it went to the receiver, and then it, feedback. And what you did just there, or what I just did there, was that I was checking with you. So that's another thing that you can do, is say, okay, so just be clear, you know what, repeat that back to me, what I said, and then have them tell you. And that's another good way to find out if your message was clear, you know, or if they're getting everything. Because remember, 10 minutes of listening, how much are you walking away with in 2 days, in 48 hours? 2.5 minutes, right? So hopefully, by engaging your listeners, by having them actively involved, by asking them questions, by writing things down, by repeating things back to you or asking questions, you're asking questions of them, we're going to up that 2.5 minutes to 5 minutes or maybe even 10 minutes. And we're going to go to the right Ocean City, we're going to eat at the right Panera at the right time, and bring our trombone or tuba or whatever to the right Allentown, right? Okay, effectively communicate, that's what it's all about. I'm Dee, I'm DCAT, and that's effective communication. Yeah.
In addition to that, your feedback in the emails,
Yes. Oh, good.
we are sending the classes out to you guys. You're receiving the message, and now you're going to evaluate, and that is the feedback that we are going to get to keep helping LTC grow and be a great place so more and more delegates keep coming.
That's right. You
So,
came
yeah.
in here with expectations, maybe no expectations, maybe high expectations. Are you walking away, what's your takeaway? Have you learned something? Are you going to change your behavior? Are you going to make sure you do certain things differently, or what you've been doing right, you're going to make sure you do it all the time?